All right, man. I'm gonna wait for everyone to connect here. Give me about 2 or 3 seconds, and I'm going to tell you how. We'll tell you how Jesus taught pre-trib. It's in Luke. First, this internet game, where they say, "Can you have this secret talent?" And they're like, "Yeah." So, like, making one hand go forward and then the other hand go backwards. See, most people go the same direction. And they say, well, some people go the same direction backwards. And they're saying, but wow, this hidden talent. Man, look, look, you young folks, look, just watch. This is forward. Try to get where you can see it forward. And this is backwards. All right. And they're like, this is hard. Watch. Ready? Forward, backwards. I watch. This is going faster. And the other one's going slower. Wow. Okay, go back. Right now, watch this. Forward, backwards. Now watch. This one's going to be tiny. Tiny. All right, enough of that stuff. Young folks. All right, so Jesus talks about, he teaches pre-trib. Blowing a lot of some of the people that watch me because they don't believe there's a pre-trib, but Jesus teaches it. Look, Jesus says on his second coming, this is what he explains. Y'all ready? He foretells it. He goes, look, tells the disciples, the days will come when you will long to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and you will not see it. They will look, and you go here, there. Okay. For just like the lightning, when it flashes as one part of the sky and it shines to the other part, so will the Son of Man in his day. You got to catch some key words. Okay? That's Matthew. That is Matthew, where they talk about Jesus coming, gathering his people from the sky while the earth mourns. The people are already in the sky. But listen to what Jesus, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So lightning flashes across the sky, shines one part of the other sky. So the Son of Man will be in his day. But listen, but first, before Matthew 24, but first, he's going to have to suffer many things and be rejected by this generation. That happened. But just as it happens in the days of Noah, it will be in the days, plural, days, not days, singular, the days of the Son of Man. People were eating and they were drinking and they were marrying and they were being given in marriage until the day Noah, the focus of Noah, entered the ark. And then the flood came and destroyed. But also he says it's like Lot. Remember, Jesus likens the return like Lot and Noah. And it was the same as it happened in the days of Lot. The focus is Lot. They were eating and drinking and they were buying and they were selling and they were planning and they were building. But on the day that Lot left Sodom, on that day when he was gone, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed all. So Jesus says, if you want to know what it's like, go read what I did as God to Noah and Sodom, and you'll know what it will be like when Jesus returns. Let's turn our pages and let's examine. And I'm going to start with Lot. And what you're going to learn is God took his righteous out of the way before he destroyed the earth or the city. Now, please go watch yesterday's episode on reprobate and the reprobate world to come, because earth had become reprobate in Noah's day, and the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah became reprobate in Lot's day. That is all important to see, because when you're reprobate, you're unsavable. And that's what God is saying when you look down on the earth with Noah and the cities of Lot. They were not savable. So therefore his wrath came down. But it's very important what transpires in the word. So let me explain it here. So what happens here is, how Lot ended up, and I don't want to go that. I'm going to go ahead to the destruction. All right. Did you know that Lot was full of Sodom was full of greenery and all this beautiful stuff? That's what it says in the word. It was full of plush life and greenery. It was a forest until God destroyed it. And that's what the word says. Now today it's a desert. And it was the same in Zoar of Egypt. All right. So God comes to Sarah with angels and says, Sarah, you're going to have a kid. What? No, blah, 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 blah. Then it goes to the end of that. While they're having this conversation, the Lord turns and gets his attention on Sodom. And he's like, the outcry of Sodom, the sin is so bad. I'm going to have to go see this, because this is what the Lord says. The outcry of Sodom and Gomorrah is indeed great, the sinful outcry. Their sin is exceedingly grave. I will go down now and see whether they have done entirely. Has their reprobate been completed? As the outcry which has come to me indicates if I should destroy it or not. And if not, I will know. If you read the Hebrew on that, kolal is, have they made a complete destruction? That's the word indicates. Has their sinful distress coming to me been complete? Is their reprobation complete? I will go look and see if they are consumed with their own destruction. Now, as I read this, I want you to remember the things of Revelation, okay? Revelation, you see 7 years, you see fire and brimstone coming down, you see all that stuff, right? You see angels, right? Angels doing the wrath, angels doing the trumpets, and you see destruction coming. That's the parallel, because Jesus said, when you look at this, you'll understand what's coming. So then the men turned away, the angels, from there, and they went towards Sodom while Abraham was still standing before the Lord. But Abraham says, wait a minute, God, did I just hear you right? Are you going to sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Are you going to dump? Wait, God. Suppose there's actually 50 righteous in Sodom, but there's not. If there are 50 people in Sodom righteous, that means they're the salt of the earth. That would be that there's chance of salvation. If 50 righteous people were preaching God in there, Sodom would not be in its mess. Will you indeed sweep it away and not spare the place for the sake of the righteous who are in it? And Abraham says, far from you, God, you don't do such a thing. You kill the righteous with the wicked so that the righteous and the wicked are treated alike. God says, are you going to treat the righteous and the wicked alike? Some say there's no pre-trib. They say that, you Christians will have to hurt and suffer. Jesus said, look at Lot, so you understand. Well, we're looking at Lot and Sodom. It says, are you going to make the righteous suffer your wrath the same as the wicked? Far from you to do that, God. You shall not judge all of the earth the same, and you're not dealing justly. You can't do this, God. That's not how it works. Then what's the point in being righteous? So the Lord said, you are right, Abraham. If I find in Sodom 50 righteous within the city, I'm going to spare the city from my wrath on the account of the righteous. So God's saying, I will not do the thing that we find that in the end that he does. If there's right now, this conversation goes down. He goes, God, $40, all the way down to 10. At this point, we stop at 10. With less than 10, there's not enough to bring any kind of salt or salvation to the city. It is completely reprobate. Again, watch yesterday's episode on what reprobate is and a reprobate world to come. So God, it says, here's what we got to do. Before I bring down my hammer of wrath, I have to get the righteous out. They have to be raptured out. They have to leave, right? Okay, so now 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom. And when Lot saw the angels, he stood up and he bowed to them. And he said, now behold, my lords, please turn aside into your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet, so that you may arise early and go. See, Lot didn't know what's going on. Angels were beginning to intervene in this place. They said, no, we're just going to sleep right here in the square. Angels like, I ain't scared. Yet he strongly urged them, turn aside and enter his house. So out of respect, that's angels. They said, okay, all right. So he prepared a feast for them, and they ate. Angels eat. You might have even seen or entertained angels and didn't know it. Angels appear as men, right? And they ate food. The angels eat food. Man, and angels are here intervening in your behalf now in this climate of the world. I'm telling you, just trust God. And before they went to sleep, before it was late in the night, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, they surrounded the house, the young to the old, all of these men. People from all 100% quarter. Ooh, fresh men in the city. Where are the men who came to you tonight? They're yelling. Bring them out to us so that we may have sexual relations with them. The homosexuality, man, this place was so reprobate. Now, yesterday we read about reprobated mind in Romans, and no one will teach you this, but what happens is when God gives them up to a reprobate mind, they begin to change their sexual desires for same sex. That's exactly what Romans talks about. And there's a coming reprobate world. And once someone's deemed a reprobate, it's unsavable. And that's what the case was made in Romans 1. Read my video, watch my video yesterday. But Lot went out of the doorway and shut the door behind them and said, please, my brothers, don't act wickedly. Stop this. I'm getting so sick and tired of it. And it said he was weary of all that too. Now look, I have 2 daughters and they're virgins. Let me give them to you and do whatever you want. So Lot was being affected by this wickedness. Why are those daughters wicked? I mean, why were the daughters virgins? Probably because in this society, they couldn't find a man. Maybe they couldn't even find a man that was interested in a woman, but they were virgin adults. Think about the society. And they were righteous. So they probably had some kind of standard. Now, look, I have 2 daughters, okay, that had not any relations with any man. Please bring them out to you and do whatever you want with them. And do not do as these men. Bear with me. Got to see this because we got to know what Jesus said. He said, look at this to understand. So we're seeing the picture of the world, the city of that day. These people are under my roof, the angels, but they said, get out of my way. They said, you came to us as a foreigner a lot. Now you're going to judge us with your righteousness and God got to live righteous. Get out of my way. We want what we want. Our fleshly desires burn for these men. Take them out of the house. We want to have an orgy with them. That's what's happening, right? Being blunt, man, grace and truth. Get out of the way, they said. Then this one came in as a foreigner already, is acting like a judge. Now we will treat you worse than them. He's righteous. Think about it. Today's day, how they're treating Christianity. Think about how they're infiltrating the church and bringing some of the churches are bringing some of these wicked doctrines, right? And they're angry, the world, at you and I, Christians. So it goes on. They pressed hard against Lot, and the angels pulled him in to protect him, angel intervention, and brought Lot into the house, and they shut the door, and they struck the men who were in the doorway with blindness, the small to the great, the unknown to the mayor and to the governor of the town. So they became tired of looking for the doorway. Then the 2 men said to Lot, listen to this. Whom else do you have here? And he said, I have a son-in-law and sons and daughters, and whomever you have in the city, bring them out of this place, for we are about to destroy this place. The angels are about to destroy it. Look at Revelation. The angels are the ones that bring the bowls of wrath and blows the trumpets. They're involved. Is the thing Jesus said, look, to learn from. Because this outcry is so great before the Lord, he sent us to destroy it, the angels. So Lot went out, brought his sins, and he took them out. Matter of fact, one more thing. So Lot goes to his sons-in-laws who are about to marry his daughters and said, up, get out of this place. Lot says, I am warning you, God is going to destroy the place, and he's taking us out of the city. And what did his son say? They thought he was joking. They were like, come on, man. Are we saying now's the time in the world to say, you guys are saying the rapture soon, the end times are near? We're saying, yes. You guys are so full of, right? That's what we look at. So what happens? Angels take Lot and his family, the righteous, out of the city, the few righteous left. And then God brings down what? When they had brought them outside and they escaped, when the sun had risen over the earth and Lot came to Zoar, the Lord rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of heaven, and he overthrew the cities and all the surrounding area and all the inhabitants of the city and all that grew upon the ground. So it came about when God destroyed the cities of the surrounding area, God remembered Abraham and sent Lot in the midst of destruction when he overthrew the cities in which Lot had lived. And he saw the cities were burning. Okay, so you see that. Do you see? Jesus said, look at that. We see that God would have spared it, but the case was made. You can't bring your wrath down on the unrighteous while the righteous are in the city. The same with pre-trib. God, you can't bring down all the stuff in Revelations while the righteous is here on the earth. That's not how God deals with it. Let me look at one more, because he said in Luke, look at Noah and Lot as the example of the coming of the Son of Man. So let's go to Noah. Noah, y'all know, so I'm not going to be as long-winded on this one, but let me just touch a few key points. What was the pre-flood world? It also becomes so reprobate, unsavable, that God destroys it. That's what we're leading to in the world again. You know, Adam had known that God was going to destroy the world to one of two ways, by water and by fire. He knew God was going to do that, both of those. Adam didn't know which one was going to be first. Global destruction by water first, and then global destruction by fire second. Well, we've seen the global destruction by water first to a reprobated world. The fire is next. All right, so right here, listen. Man had become so corrupt, reprobated, unsavable. I'm reading Genesis 6, right? The Lord, and verse 5, the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was so great on the earth that every intent of his thought was consumed with, and in their hearts, evil, continual evil. Think about what we read of Sodom. So the Lord was sorry that he made mankind on the earth, and it grieved his heart. He said, you know what? I'm just going to wipe out mankind. Why? He didn't see any salvation for him. And whom I've created from the face of the land, mankind, animals, everything. I am sorry that I actually made them. This is horrible, man. What are they doing? This is nasty. Ew. Ew. That's nasty. What are you doing? Stop. That's not what I created you for. Sorry for the humor. But Noah found favor. Righteous Noah found favor. So when God looked at Noah, he's like, I can't bring this destruction on the wicked also on Noah. It's not right. I cannot destroy the righteous along with the wicked. Because the records of the generations of Noah, he was a righteous man, blameless in his generation, and Noah walked with God. Now the earth was corrupt in the sight of God, and the earth was full of violence. And God looked on the earth. It was corrupt, for humanity had corrupted its way on the earth. If there was a way, God would have not had destroyed it, right? And God said to Noah, the end of humanity has come. That's by water. Adam said, the prophesied, there's one by fire. For the earth is filled with violence because the people, I am going to destroy them with the earth. Okay, and you know what happens? God says, before I do this to the wickedness and the earth, I must rescue Noah from this wrath. Do you see that? So, with the coming of the Son of Man in Luke chapter 17, he said it will be like the days of Lot and Noah. We've seen those examples, and we know that God will pull the dead Christians and the living Christians at one time up to heaven, right? I'm going to leave one last thing. Now, we understand that if we go to Matthew 24, we know the great resurrection day and the rapture is the same thing, right? Gathered together as 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, dead in Christ, we rise, and then we meet the Lord in the air, we in the clouds. And then we read Luke 17. He said, now examine that in light of it. Now, let's go to the last thing, Matthew 24. Everyone keeps pointing to that, and they say that argues against pre-trib, but it doesn't. You can't just take one verse. You got to read what Jesus taught. So Matthew 24, the coming of the Son of Man there, with all of that I shared with you, and he says this, but immediately after the tribulation, okay, so there's a tribulation. The church is where? Raptured to the sky. Where's the Christians? On the earth? In the heaven. They're in heaven. That's it, right? Resurrection day is a rapture, right? And then after the tribulation in those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from the sky, and the powers of heaven will be shaken. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky. Remember, taking us is like a thief. This is his return. And the tribes on the earth will mourn. Why will they mourn? God says, look to the sky, for your redemption is near. The Christian is excited to see Jesus. But here, the ones on the earth are mourning. They're not Christians. And they will see the Son of Man coming where? On the clouds in the sky. And he will send forth, God will send forth his angels with a great trumpet blast, and the angels will gather together his elect from the four winds of the sky, from one end of the sky to the other. Do you see that? The Christians are not on the earth because we wouldn't be mourning, but his elect are in the sky. He gathers them from the clouds. So here's the picture. Let me summarize it. Now that I did this whole thing, we are resurrected and raptured by the trumpet. We are made new and we meet the Lord in the air. That's the rapture. Then the 7-year tribulation, and then the coming of the Lord. The people on the earth are mourning. Oh God, it's saying this is finally coming down. They hate it. But he gathers his people, not from the earth, but from the clouds, because we're already there. So during the 7 year, if you read Revelation, there is the marriage feast. For 7 years, we're having the marriage feast. While we're up there, we're seeing Jesus open the scrolls. While we're up there, we're there watching all of this while the earth is being brutalized, like Sodom and whatever. Abraham argued, you can't do this while the righteous are in there. So God had to escape the righteous. Then his wrath comes down. We're in heaven. Then at the end of the tribulation, God gathers his elect from the four winds of the heavens, because we're up there hanging out and having a fun time. And as this begins, the sign is the time has come. I'm coming down. All these Christians with Jesus in the middle, and the people on the earth are going, we mourn. Our destruction is near. It's very clear. And I have to throw the dynamics in there just for fun. But anyway, I will stop there. That should be very thorough, solid, rock solid proof of pre-tribulation. God does not intend wrath for his righteous, never did, never will. And God does not bring his wrath down while the righteous are there. And he doesn't just put a bubble around them while they walk around. Lot didn't have a bubble and walk around while fire's coming down the city. Oh, well, Lot was still there and he's got a bubble of protection. No, none of that is in there. You will be taken out. You are not going to suffer this wrath to come, the global meltdown. You will be out of the way with God in heaven. Okay, that's what's going to be happening. Now, if you can get saved during the tribulation, but more than likely you will be killed for it. That's beheaded. It'll be horrible. But there's still always chances to be saved until Jesus returns. Anyway, God bless you guys. I've gone too long. Sorry to be long-winded. Share this, be a media missionary, comment, like, all that good stuff, and go to the video and I show you how I can do that internet thing where this hand goes forward, this hand goes backwards. All them young people are like, no, that's hard. Well, this one's small, yeah, and this one's big. Now back to the same, right? Young people. And then look, one's fast and one's slow. All that stuff, man. Y'all think that stuff's hard. God bless you guys.